Thanks for joining us for this special edition of Decryptage. Today with our guest, Oluseun ONASOGA, team lead Namibian Project, Access Bank, we will discuss the importance for African banking and financial professionals to train. This within the framework of the Trade Finance Seminar organized by Afrexim Bank. Mr. ONASOGA, welcome to Africa 24 English. Access Bank recently got authorization to start operations in Namibia, and expansion has been going on during the last few years on the continent and beyond. First of all, why are you particularly interested in Namibia?
All right, so the best way to understand it is to understand who is Access Bank. So Access Bank Plc is a subset or a banking group within the Access Bank holding corporation entity. The corporation entity has about 5 verticals that operate within it. We have a payment, we have a lending, we have a pension, which is the largest pension, second largest in Nigeria. We have what's called insurance brokerage, and then we have the banking group. Access Bank itself operates in 16 African markets, including Nigeria, and also operates in Ghana, in UK. We operate in the UK, France, Dubai, Malta. We also operate out of China, Lebanon, and India. And as at October 31st, we had the license to start our full operations in Hong Kong. By the way, we are the only African bank that has been given a license in Hong Kong. The question you ask is why those expansions? It's built around the intra-trade pathway for Africa. Africa has only a 3 trillion intra-trade that it does within itself. The idea is if Africa was doing more, can we expand the opportunity with that? If you can expand the opportunity, you expand not only just trade, you expand opportunity for employment, opportunity for infrastructure, opportunity for more money to be made and retained in Africa. So when you look at that conversation as related to trade, you then ask, why Namibia? 2 markets are very significant, the East African corridor and the Southern African market. These are the well-sophisticated markets that are integrated within the African continent. And if you come down to South Africa, to the Southern Africa, what you see is that Namibia is strategically located within that southern region, giving an opportunity not only for maritime expansion, logistics expansion, and of course, they found oil, and also to be a net exporter of green hydrogen. If you look at that fundamental, it makes a lot of sense to sit in Namibia and see how you can operate businesses or how businesses can export from it. Namibia is well good for when you look at governance, stability of currency, stability of governance, etc. It tells you that the future is bright for Namibia, and for where banking is and where enterprise would exist. Namibia is a very good spot to also consolidate what we have within the southern region, which includes Zambia, Botswana, Mozambique, Angola, South Africa also.
You have extensive experience in the banking sector. You have been in Rwanda, Nigeria, and also other African countries. Today you are now the team lead. You also participated in the Afrexim Bank Trade Finance Seminar. Why is it important for African banking and financial professionals to have such training?
So first and foremost, Afrexim program is something that Access Bank strategically partners. So if you see that we are the seminar partners for the program that are called here. And why are we sponsoring it? Because it speaks to trade. What are the opportunities by been in a room, understanding it? It gives you information. Information in today's African market and globally is critical for how the expansion is. It is also an opportunity for Afrexim to tell what is their strategic goals and where they are going to, allowing commercial banks to then begin to align and see where opportunity or collaboration can exist between the commercial banks as well as Afrexim. It's a room where you're sitting down with banks that sit across African markets, UAE, Dubai, Caribbean. So if you see in the room when they have this conversation, and during times out when we could all have a conversation, you are having conversations that are core, learning what happens in other markets and how you can import that into your own market. So it's always a great forum for us to have conversations. It's a great forum to have deals to be made, because you're also having private sector players. And then even for us as Access Bank Namibia, Namibia, it's an opportunity also to interact with potential investors who are looking at Namibia as a point of call to say, can we invest? Now, they now have an opportunity to have a conversation with market players and to understand their own perspective about Namibia and why they should invest in Namibia. And that forum was only created through the workshop that we had today, this period.
Many topics like factoring were covered during the Afreximbank Trade Finance Seminar. What are some burning topics that you were eager to find on the menu and you think are inevitable to talk about among professionals?
So, of course, factoring is important. I think if you look at structured trade finance, it's also a conversation to have. Within the southern region, we're more dominated by open account transactions, more than letters of credit and other forms of transactions. If you do, sometimes letters of credit can help your liquidity management because then you don't have to part with cash from day one. And that gives you significant opportunity to know how to do your business. So when you are in that room, the conversation occurs to understand what other markets are doing, what's unique about it, how those instruments of trade are answering the questions of FX liquidity, FX availability, and other ways in terms of trust between sellers and traders or importers and exporters in the market. And these trade instruments helps us to do so. And that's why it's a good thing to always be in the room, because you would learn something more, and that incentives can be brought into the business model to ensure you create real value for the customers and even new customers that are coming into Africa.
With your expansion across the continent and beyond, you've said that you wanted to promote intra-African trade, but also put trade finance in Africa. But how far do you want to go, and what are some of the areas of focus in supporting African economic integration?
So a little bit is that Access Bank pursues to be the gateway to Africa in terms of trade and in terms of payment, in terms of infrastructure financing, in terms of banking, in terms of retail banking, and in terms of digital transformation. If you look at those pinnacles and if you call them pillars in which forms what Access Bank is pursuing, the strategic locations across Africa enables us to do so. If you just look at trade, embedded in trade is payment, because at the end of the day you will make payment for the trade transactions you do so. How we do it, how cost to serve on those payment platforms are done, how swift or how fast, how safe, are conversations we should be having. For example, the intra-trade that you're doing today, we use the SWIFT platform, but we do not have an intra-trade platform within Africa that we can do this transaction, especially when you're doing multiple currencies. There's a question to ask. If I want to pay you now in Kenya shillings, how do I do it? If I don't want to go through the traditional way of converting to dollars and to Kenyan shillings, by sitting in different markets, it gives us the opportunity to leverage on that to be able to serve customers much, much better. If we expand it to payment, it means we can easily make instant payment. And one of the things that we do is Access Africa, a platform that allows businesses to transfer funds from local currency in which the end user gets it in their own local currency, ensuring that you can remove the conversation as relates to the dollar pricing that occurs and the premium that could also bring to the market. So there are different ways in which Access Bank has seen it, but particularly we're creating a trade rail and that are within Africa that allows us to do more, serve more, and to ensure that customers can do businesses without paying the same amount of money as it currently exists today.
How are you partnering with development finance institutions and institutions like Afreximbank to make sure you achieve these ambitious goals of supporting economic development in Africa?
Well, I think we said a lot about it, and Afrexim also validated that statement for us. And we believe in partnerships. And Access Bank continues to value its partners across, not only in Africa, but across the globe. Afrexim's partnership we're doing is situated around infrastructure, and there are some things that we're doing in Angola, and some things in Kenya, and those transactions are ongoing because we see that they come with a different level of capital and liquidity or debt to support, while we come with a different one. And it's those kind of partnership and seeing how we can do it is how we're going to continue to do it, to develop Africa. For example, Afrexim mentioned that they are focused also on industrial parks. So it means as a bank, if we find our client or government institutions interested in industrial parks, easily you can have this conversation with Afrexim and do a proper partnership that allows us to do more and create value in country And by doing one step at a time, we continue to create the connecting dots across Africa.
Our Media Group Africa 24 is celebrating its 15th anniversary this year. What advice and direction would you give this media outlet to better support development initiatives and their impact on the continent?
Yes, you do have a say, and the media has a say, and every African has a say or has value to be given. There is an African narrative that right or wrong that exists in the atmosphere. I think the media plays a role in looking for the good that occurs within the economic system across Africa and celebrate that. The celebrated image is one dot in a star, gives a lot of inspiration. One of the examples is Dangote building one of the largest refinery globally. By doing that and the media celebrating that achievement would inspire other Africans to step into the manufacturing and industrialization perspective and invest the capital they could have kept in other markets just for the safety of tomorrow. By discussing it and the challenges they went through would empower others to say, despite the challenges that may exist, regulatory perspective or otherwise, we can still make a difference. If you take the Dangote refinery, for example, by effectively establishing that entity, it has capacity to solve energy requirement from oil sector in terms of refined oil for best part of the West African market. That's huge. And if the media would speak, and they were speaking continuously about it, it will inspire other billionaires that exist across African space to invest in Africa and believe in Africa and find the right country to support. The media houses can also support in ensuring that which country provide the best systems, which then provides information for those who want to invest to know where to go, how to go, and then be able to solve Africa's problem by Africans. And at the end of the day, the ultimate beneficiary of solving Africans' problem is Africans.
Mr. ONASOGA, thank you for answering Africa 24's English questions. Ladies and gents, please stay tuned for more on our channels.